As much as we all hate to admit, the SEC has been the top conference in college football for the last 20 years, winning 16 of the last 20 national championships. It's safe to assume that every single year, the national championship is going to have to go through the SEC one way or another. Due to such dominance, college football has seen a lack of parity, and the SEC usually gets the benefit of the doubt when it comes to the BCS rankings. So that got me to thinking, what would college football look like if the SEC wasn't good in football? So here in College Football Revamped, I'm giving everybody 5 seasons to see if parity will be amongst us, or will just another conference pick up where the SEC left off. All right, boys, so heading into conference championship week here in season number 1, taking a look at the college football rankings, North Carolina's 12-0, they're number 1 in the nation, followed by 11-1 Ohio State. Northern Illinois is 12-0 and number 3 in the nation. Miami's 11-1, Penn State's 2 losses, Tulane's 11-1. Take a look at some of the other schools up here. You notice we're not going to have any SEC school up here. FAU is 10-2, South Alabama's 11-1, Louisiana Tech's up here at 10-2, North Texas is up here with 3 losses, Oklahoma State, Iowa, UTEP, and Army with 2 losses. And tapping in with the SEC, take a look at Alabama. They're 10-2, 9-0 in conference. Now, they are still going to beat up on other SEC schools, but when they play other schools not in the SEC, see here, they lost by 20 to UTEP, and then they lost by 14 here versus App State. So these schools will still have good conference records, but all of their out-of-conference records are going to be absolutely horrible. Now, there is still a possibility that these schools can get good again real fast because they are doing their own recruiting. There are no restrictions. They're handling their own. Take a look at some of these bowl games that do have BCS championship implications. Northern Illinois has to win to get in. Tulane has to win to get into the playoff. So game number 1, we're going to go ahead and sim that in. Northern Illinois is upset by Bowling Green 45-31. Tulane handles their business versus Rice. North Carolina narrowly escapes versus Syracuse. And Ohio State needs overtime to beat Wisconsin by 3. So this season's Heisman winner is going to be App State's running back Amani Marshall. 1,999 yards, 26 touchdowns with another 453 and 2 touchdowns on the ground. And our college football playoff will consist of North Carolina taking on Penn State and Ohio State taking on Miami. So jumping into this first college football playoff game, number 1 North Carolina taking on number 4 Penn State. We're going to jump into all of these games, of course, if they're close. If not, we're just going to watch it here on the Super Sim. And right now, Penn State is dominating North Carolina 42 to nothing. UNC finally gets rid of the shutout, but it is too little too late. Big time win for Penn State. 62-27 is the final score. Here we are getting ready for game number 2, the 2 versus 3 matchup. Hopefully these teams can fare a little bit better and actually give us a dope matchup. Ohio State goes up 14-7. Miami's defense is playing pretty decent. They're down 24-7. I wonder if the Big Ten is going to become the new powerhouse now that the SEC is going to be not competing for some years to come. All right, boys, time for the natty. Number 2 Ohio State taking on number 4 Penn State. Will we get a game we can finally jump into as Ohio State answers quickly? Penn State goes down and gets half a point. Ohio State finds the end zone once again, and Ohio State is looking like just a better team than everybody. Their offense is unstoppable. Their defense is stout. They're up 28-9. I mean, can Penn State find the end zone here? Will it be? Nope. 35. Finally, 35-16, 35-23, 35-30. This is what we came here for, man. This is what we want to see. Ohio State needs to pick up this first down if they don't want to give Ohio State the ball back. It's a draw play. Penn State gets the stop. All right, guys, 4:31 left in this one. This is a big drive here for Penn State. They're going to have to move the ball pretty much the full length of the field, which isn't going to be easy with how we've been seeing this Ohio State defense play. And they go with a quick pass over the middle, and that one's dropped. So Ohio State defense looks really good. Nice play action. They go with a quick pass over the middle again, and this time they pick up the first. Aggression and, moving with purpose early. They're back to pass again. Is that a throwaway? No, it's a dot. The look that Ohio State came out in, and Ohio State isn't getting pressure, and that's just a bad decision there by that quarterback. Be safe and run the ball. They don't. Big pickup block there by the running back. They go with a wide receiver screen, and that only picks up 4. It looks like Ohio State actually blocked the punt. Third down here for Penn State is going to be under 2 minutes left once they hike the ball. It's going to be another draw. Penn State is there immediately. Penn State's defense comes up huge. They get the stop, but they now face a 3rd and 5 at the 50. Of course, this is 4 down territory. They do still have 2 timeouts. They go with a quick pass, quick hitter to number 18. A field goal does nothing here. They need to score a touchdown, then go for 2. That tackle is broken, and Penn State uses their second timeout here. 57 seconds left here. Just shy of the red zone. They're moving a man in motion. I would take a shot to the end zone here, honestly. Pressure got in quick, and they don't pick up the first. Our 3rd and inches here, boys. Here we go. Running back swinging out to the right. He throws that pass while getting hit, and it is no good. They got to pick this up if they want to keep their hopes alive here in this national championship game. And they're going with a wildcat here. Is that the smartest move? It is. 20 across the 15. Penn State picks up the first down plus more. I'm always confused with the computer here, but it looks like they're going to run a play, but it's the same play. They go with the wildcat once again. 10 jumps. I don't think this is the formation the Wildcats want to come out in and run their no huddles, but they're not audible, and they're going to keep trying to run it, and Penn State snuffs it out. State has to call their timeout here, right? 7 seconds left. They're just going to keep running the same play. That's insanity. I guess Penn State was just trying to get as close as possible here, but it all comes down to this. Shotgun, of course. Running back off to the right. Changing some things up at the line of scrimmage. Ohio State only rushing 4, and that one nowhere to go. Ohio State is going to win this natty in dramatic fashion in the Big Ten to win the first national championship here in this new college football scene. No real surprise here. The Big Ten is usually good. Ohio State is usually good, but I didn't expect an all Big Ten natty. So season number 2, taking a look at the championship week polls. USC is the #1 team in the nation with 2 losses. No undefeateds are in the mix, but Alabama is slowly but surely creeping their way back up, sitting at 11-1, number 25. But a lot of their wins are going to be considered weak because the conference is so ass. Penn State wants to be in the natty once again. They got a championship game. Michigan is not going to be in the Big Ten championship. So if Penn State loses, they can squeak in. Utah, Iowa State, UCLA, Oklahoma State, South Alabama with 2 losses. Maryland, UTEP, VTech, Oregon is a team. Army's back up in the mix again. Northern Illinois, Georgia Tech has 4 losses, and they're sitting at number 17. So the Big 12 championship matters. So let's go ahead and save and sim that one to see if Iowa State can pull it off. They win by 17 versus West Virginia. Shocker, in the SEC championship, Texas bumps off Alabama, which is going to knock them out of the top 25. Oregon versus Utah, 4 versus 10. Utah pulls it off and gets the win. Then Penn State going up against Iowa. Will Iowa play? Spoiler, they do. They beat Penn State 28-21. This season's Heisman goes to Iowa State's running back Cartavius Norton. He ran for nearly 1,500 yards, so 14 touchdowns, another 569 through the air, adding another 8 for 22 total touchdowns. Just take a look at this Heisman voter list. Iowa State, Tulane, Utah, Southern Miss, Georgia Tech. Not something you're going to see every day. This year's college football playoff, we got USC taking on Iowa State. Then we got Utah taking on Michigan. This could end up being an all Pac-12 championship, or we could have a mixture of 2 conferences. All right, boys, so I feel bad for Iowa State. This is a literal home game at the Rose Bowl for USC, but let's see if Iowa State can compete. They answer immediately after USC scores. They get a stop. They're going to go up 14-7. They're now going to go up 17-7. They give up 6. They're down. They're up. Now they're down 21-7. Back up 24-21. 27-21. USC goes up 28-27, 35-27. Iowa stop. USC scores 41-27, 48-27, 48-30. Will Iowa make this a game? They just weren't enough for USC. They lose by 25, 55-30. I thought for sure we were going to have a game we could jump into. Michigan's up 14-0. They get another stop on Utah. They get 3. Utah stopped again, 20-0, 27-0 Michigan, 27-3, 34-11. The game is going back and forth, but Michigan's defense is just too much for Utah. So a lot of teams getting in these spots, but they're not handling their business. We have yet to have a close game in the college football playoff. On to the natty. Michigan will be taking on USC. Here we are, boys. Natty number 2. Will we get a good game? If Michigan wins, this will be back-to-back national championships for the Big Ten. And, it's only 5 years in the sim, so 2 out of 5 is definitely taking control of the situation. And if they win 3, it's all but over. But USC has something to say. They make this a game quickly. 28-28 now in the third quarter. USC goes up 35-28 here in the third quarter. Let's see if Michigan could drive down the field. They can't. They are forced to punt. Here they are driving into the red zone, 3rd and 6. Let's jump in. Do not throw an interception. Do not turn this ball over, because you should get points regardless, but they're going to get 6 on the 3rd and long, and now we got ourselves a game, baby. Caleb Williams and the USC offense were unable to get anything going. Michigan has the ball back again inside the red zone. 1st and 10, 2:30 left in this ball game. Are they going to go for broke, or are they going to just play for the tie? Well, nobody really plays for the tie. We got a 2nd and 5 here for the Michigan Wolverines, down 3 with 2:08 left here in this ball game. Looks like they're trying to draw them off sides. They're going to keep it on the ground. Number 23 picks up the 1st and more. Again, is driving and moving with efficiency. They got their tight end moving in motion. They're going to turn around and hand it off once again, and this time it is stuffed. Do not throw an interception. and you at least are going to play for OT, and that's going to be a sack. He's lucky to have held on to that ball. Michigan tried to draw USC off sides, and they ended up false starting, and this could come back to haunt them if this kicker misses his kick. This would be a dumb move by the coach. The kick is up, and the kick is good. Michigan wins the toss. They're on defense first, and immediately we got a 10-yard loss. Penalty on the offense. That pass is incomplete. That pass is thrown away. That pass is dropped. Looks like the field goal team for USC is going to head out. No, they're bringing out the offense to go for it on 4th and 20. There's no way you can't trust your kicker this much. This is bad. And then they run a quarterback draw. I just scratch my head sometimes with this game. Now, Michigan just has to not lose yards, not turn over the ball, and score a touchdown, maybe even, kick a field goal. Let's jump in 1st and goal and see if they actually make something shake here. Michigan is 1.5 yards away from being crowned national champions, boys. 2nd and goal. Is the Big Ten really the conference that's going to take over? Orgy's going to take it itself. He's in the end zone. Michigan are season 2's national champions, and the Big Ten gets national championship number 2. Look at the boys celebrating, man. So we got Penn State year 1, Michigan year 2. Is any other conference and/or teams going to step up? Here in season 3, boys, and it's safe to say some of these teams are back. They do have good ratings. Others are struggling when it comes to recruiting, but we might be seeing one of these SEC teams back in the mix, and I wonder if they're going to be able to shut the door on some of these other conferences. Checking out the polls here in Conference Championship Week. Army is number 1 in the nation, followed by Georgia Tech. We already know what that natty would look like. Colorado, Coach Prime got his boys up here in the top 3. Michigan's back in the mix at top 4. All right, guys, so the ACC championship game is important here. NC State gets the upset. Georgia Tech is going to be out of the playoff. Colorado's going to lose to Oregon, so they are now out of the playoff. Michigan is the only team that can stand their ground, and they get the dub here. They're probably going to be moving up to the number 2 team in the nation. So Hawaii's running back is going to be the Heisman winner. That's 3 for 3 on running backs winning the Heisman in this sim. 2,500 yards with 23 touchdowns, only 27 yards through the air. Who the hell is their coach over there? So this year's college football playoff is going to be Army taking on Virginia Tech, Michigan taking on NC State. So we got the 1-4 game here in the Iron Bowl. We got Army taking on Virginia Tech. Not sure how Army's going to fare in the Super Sim, but they are up 7-0. Their defense seems to be pretty stout, but their offense is now struggling. Virginia Tech fumbles the bag on a drive. Army does the same. Virginia Tech's up 17-7. Army's not moving the ball, and that option offense is not the offense you want when you're trying to come from behind. Virginia Tech goes up 31-14, up 17 late, and I think that's going to be all she wrote as Virginia Tech upsets the number 1 team in the nation. All right, guys, so here we are, the 2 versus 3 matchup, Michigan versus NC State. How this one's going to go, we have yet to have a close game in the semifinals. We haven't had to jump in any of them. They're all blowouts. Michigan goes up huge. They're up 10. NC State finally answers back. Michigan goes down and scores. They get a stop. They get stopped again. Michigan's offense seems to be too much for NC State. They're not moving a rock, and Michigan finds themselves in yet another national championship. All right, boys, it is natty time. Will Michigan go back-to-back and have the Big Ten win the national championship 3 years in a row? Virginia Tech answers first. Michigan gets 3, and Michigan's defense starts to do what Michigan's defense has been doing this whole entire sim. Once they figure out what you're going to do on offense, they just begin to stop you, and their offense takes over. They're now up 31-10. Teams are not moving the ball well on Michigan. USC did for a little bit, as they came back late. Now we got ourselves a game here. Virginia Tech, their defense is not proven to be good enough to get stops out here. Let's go ahead and sim this one by possession. They punt immediately. What is Michigan going to do? They punch it in 45, just like that. The swings are crazy. Once again, their offense is stopped. Michigan gets 3. That's going to be the ball game, man. Michigan wins another natty. Back-to-back natties, 3 in a row for the Big Ten. They are like the new SEC right now. Virginia Tech just didn't quite have what it takes, and we're going to have to wait and see if somebody else can overtake them in season number 4. Season 4 polls heading into the conference championship week. This is what we love to see. Houston, number 1 in the nation, undefeated. Virginia Tech back in the mix. Fresno State, Navy. Back-to-back military academies in the top 4 looking to go to the natty, but Navy has to play Tulane in the conference championship. Conference championship games that matter. Houston versus Baylor. Baylor upsets the number 1 team in the nation. Shit is about to get crazy. We got Tulane taking on Navy. Can Navy jump up? Navy gets their cheeks clapped without going out to dinner. 49-7. Fresno State taking on Boise State in the Mountain West Championship. Fresno gets the job done. They're going to the playoff. Syracuse versus Virginia Tech. I ain't gonna lie, I want Syracuse Syracuse to win, and they fumble the bag. They lose by 3. UCLA versus Cal. This game is actually super duper important. UCLA gets a dub by 17. Then we got Penn State taking on Minnesota. Minnesota could definitely move up if they get a dub here and they get their cheeks beat. All right, so Fresno State's running back is going to win the Heisman. 4 for 4 on Heisman's, being running backs, 1,800 yards, 22 touchdowns. Didn't really do much through the air. So playoff is going to be Virginia Tech taking on Houston. They only fall to 4. Ooh, they lucky. And then we got Fresno State taking on UCLA. So we got a West Coast beef, and then we got the East Coast taking on the Southwest. All right, boys, we got the 1 versus 4 game. Virginia Tech taking on Houston. Still, we have yet to have to jump into a semifinal game. This one might be the one, man. Nobody has scored yet in the first quarter. Finally, Virginia Tech breaks that streak. Houston gets a stop. Houston's offense isn't really moving for much. Virginia Tech punches it in. Virginia Tech gets a stop, and they are not going to get points before the half. Houston is finally on the board. They tie this one up in the third quarter. Virginia Tech is on the verge of scoring once again, and whoa, they still scored, and now they're up 10, 24. Nope, make that 31-14, 38-14. Houston was right there, boys. They fumbled the bag. Virginia Tech wins by 30. All right, boys, the 2 versus 3 game, the game that should be close, but it's never actually close. UCLA goes up early. They are now up 2 scores. Now, even though Fresno State is the number 2 team in the nation, bro, when you look at them on paper, they're not really in UCLA's league, and that's kind of showing right here. Well, they're shutting me up. They're only down 7. They tie the ball game up before halftime. UCLA finally gets 3. Fresno State's offense is driving. They go up 28-24. They get another stop. And will they score here in the fourth quarter? Fresno State has the ball. They have a chance to put this game to bed if they can punch it in the end zone here. They're driving 3rd and 10. Let's see if UCLA can get this stop and hold them to 3. Fresno State's quarterback, shotgun, empty backfield set. Nobody's there. He's back to pass, surveying. He's got a man open, but that's going to be stuffed short. UCLA will be getting the ball back. All right, boys, so will Fresno State make their kick? They do knock it through. 3 minutes left here for UCLA. Let's see what they can do with the rock. 3rd and 14 off rip. Fresno State's defense is proven to be like that, but UCLA does still have 3 timeouts, so that definitely for sure works in their favor. They're going to go with a screenplay. It's not stuffed out at all, and they're going to pick up. I mean, even if they only get the field goal here, which they do, UCLA doesn't have enough time to win, and Fresno State is going to the national championship. So Virginia Tech back in the natty, boys. How will this go? Will Fresno State get the ultimate upset? But this is the battle of the undefeateds, man. So I'm anxious to see exactly what's going to happen. It's a pretty close game. Virginia Tech goes up 13-0. Looks like Fresno's offense is struggling. They finally get it in the end zone. Their defense is playing pretty well, but they are now down 20-7. Fresno goes down the field. They fumble the bag on the drive. Virginia Tech goes up. They immediately score right back. And 34-14. Just 6 minutes left in this ball game. I think it's safe to assume that Fresno State won't be able to come back in this ball game, especially when Virginia Tech is still putting points on the board. And Virginia Tech gets their first national championship for the ACC. Championship week, top 25 in the 5th and final season. UCLA with 2 losses is number 1. Michigan with 2 losses, number 2. Virginia Tech with 1 loss is number 3. They must have lost late. Cal with 3 losses is sitting at number 4. And there's a lot of conference championship games between 1 and 7. There's also some guys down here who could jump up if they play extremely well. And the SEC continues to be poo. So, you know what I mean? This sim in that regard is a success. But if Michigan finds themselves back in the natty and they win it, their 3rd one of the video, that'll be the 4th one for the Big Ten. Conference championship games that matter. Number 5, Houston gets the dub versus Baylor, unlike last year when they were number 1 and lost. Number 6, Boise State gets the job done versus Nevada. Virginia Tech handles business versus NC State in the ACC chip. UCLA gets absolutely dog walked as they lose in the Pac-12 championship. And Michigan beats the brakes off of Iowa 54-35 in the Big Ten championship. So for the first time in today's sim, a quarterback wins the Heisman. It's going to be Houston's quarterback, 3,500 yards, 914 on the ground, 47 total touchdowns. And this year's college football playoff will consist of Virginia Tech taking on Houston and Michigan taking on Cal. Here we are in the 1 versus 4 game. Does Houston have what it takes to get to the national championship? Their offense is super duper good, like a 97 overall. Virginia Tech's defense is an 88. But defense wins championships, I'm not gonna lie, but often better O beats good defense. But right now, that's not proven to be true. Virginia Tech's up 14. They got to stop. Now they're up 17. Houston has to answer. They're only down 10, but they cannot stop Virginia Tech. They're only down 6, though, because Virginia Tech was only getting field goals. So let's see if Houston will be able to get off of the field here. 31-yard pickup by Virginia Tech. but they are down 6. Even a field goal will put them out of reach of this game, and they're actually going to go ahead and punch that one into the end zone. Houston would make it close in the end, losing by 5, but for the most part, Virginia Tech had a hand on this game from start to finish. So far, Michigan have been the bullies here in this sim. Their team is super duper good. They're down 14-0, 21-0, but I can bet your bottom dollar that Michigan is going to make a game out of this one because of how good they are. Their offense is just going to eventually be able to punch it in, but their defense right now is really struggling as they are down 24. Now they're down, oh my goodness, they're 31. Something insane, but their offense could just not move the ball today as they lose this one 52-14. All right, boys, here we are, Natty Season 5. The first 3-loss school in number 3 Cal. And these teams are dead even when it comes to overalls and skill level and everything like that. So hopefully we get ourselves a real doozy to end off this sim, and we get to jump into this one late and get some theatrics, you know what I mean, and get some last second finish. Pretty back and forth right now though. Both teams are answering, both teams are getting stops. Cal finally ties that one up. They went for 2 early. I didn't expect that. That was real aggressive. Now they're up 7. Virginia Tech is forced to punt. What will Cal do with it? Cal will go down and get 3. Will Virginia Tech find a way to get some points? No, they are going to go 3 and out. And Cal with the ball back again, they're going to get into the end zone, and I think this one is going to be over. So for the first time in this sim, we're going to get national champions. So for the first time in this sim, we will not have a repeat conference be national champions. ACC won it last year with Virginia Tech. The Pac-12 wins it this year, even though the Big Ten won the first 3. So the Big Ten wins today's sim, winning 3 national championships back to back to back. But I feel like everybody eventually did catch up. That's why we saw the ACC and the Pac-12 win back-to-back national championships split between each other. And if we kept on simming, let's say another 5 seasons, I'd almost bet the SEC would find a way to finally get back in the mix. But I would almost guarantee that we would see a seesaw effect between all the other conferences.